Wait, there we go. Yeah.
Epic. Okay.
All right. Hey guys, and welcome back to my playlist. Wait, what do I usually say? Welcome back to my movie playlist series. And today I'm with Brandon Sonju, one of my dearest friends. We're going to be making an A24 playlist for you guys. Just a playlist of movies for you guys to watch if you want to get into A24. And so these are kind of like they're not necessarily our favorites, but maybe they're the essentials or the ones that can easily get you into the studio's movies. And we picked 5 of them, so I'm sorry if your favorite is on the list. These are just the ones that we thought would flow the best to get you into A24. And we have some disagreements about this too, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy to talk about A24.
All right.
What's up?
You've heard of A24?
Yeah. Have you heard of the Florida Project, dude?
Yeah. Have you seen Ladybird?
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah.
I actually saw a Florida Project in theaters. So.
Oh yeah, you caught it there? No. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard of Hereditary?
Yeah. Have you seen Midsummer?
Actually, it's pronounced Midsommar.
Oh, that's right.
According to the director's commentary.
According to Ari Aster. So, obviously, you guys know that A24 is kind of like a stereotypical film bro studio, and I mean we love it, and I'm sure a lot of people do. I mean, even though it's kind of an easy thing to poke fun at, but
yeah, definitely,
they're a great studio. It's just
they make. I think it's a worthy playlist to talk about because they're making some of the most like, I don't know, groundbreaking groundbreaking films and kind of getting out of the typical Hollywood format.
They're not. They make different movies than just studios will usually make. They're fun taking risks and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And culturally, like, they are more relevant. Obviously, there's going to be more like niche and like out there films, but they are like they're in the cultural conversation.
Yeah, and we chose them. I mean, not just because like they're probably one of our favorites, but like they just have the biggest filmography right now. Like, I mean, obviously, like Neon is like coming up too, and they've got some really good stuff. But we just thought that this had the most to get out of, and the most known probably for everyone.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
Sure.
The first on the list is Hereditary.
Never raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Please stop! Mom, what's happening? Make it stop! Make it stop!
I just don't want to put any more stress on my family.
Probably my favorite from them.
Me too.
Yeah.
Hereditary's in my top 20, I think.
No, yeah, it's probably the scariest movie I've ever seen, or at least the most disturbing. Or definitely within the last, I think, 10 years, people will probably say that this is the scariest they've seen.
Yeah, I think I said in my review that it's the most uniquely disturbing films I've ever seen, because it works as a drama, so you care about these characters, and also Ari Aster's direction. He's not settling for cheap scares. Instead, he leaves you in a scare for like 2 to 3 minutes at a time, and you just feel so like uneasy and like just gross. Like,
they have that awesome, there's like a chart when it came out. They had a chart of they like wired people up their hearts like a monitor, and so they had there's like the runtime, and it shows that their heart or their pace, and it was like up, and then like it stays, and it goes up again, and then it stays like that till the end of the movie. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I'll have to see that. You should put the chart on here.
I'll put it on here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It reflects the movie. I think he just keeps like tightening it, and you just feel so like uneasy. And there's so many like just disturbing moments that stick with you longer than any like startle, jump scare, or even like I don't know, even most like well done horror movies.
Yeah.
I will say jump scares aren't always bad, but that is a different conversation.
Yeah. I mean, when they're done correct,
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
Even in They Live, there's a few that I thought worked.
Really,
Jump scares.
John
like-
Carpenter just knows how to do jump scares well.
Yeah. Like in Halloween where he like grabs the kids or no, the sheriff grabs his shoulder.
Yeah. And the
like-
thing with when they're testing out the blood.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
some of the best.
So
but
jump scares aren't bad.
Yeah, it's fine. What you're saying, it like can act as a drama too. It's like it's not like watching it. If it didn't have any kind of horror, you're right. Like it would work perfectly fine, just because like you're so like invested in what the family is going through, and like I think that just is one of the reasons why I was so blown away at like after coming out of the theater, I was just like so worn out. And like I feel like if it wasn't a horror movie, I still would have been just as worn out just because all this drama.
You're watching a car crash in slow motion for 2 hours, and there's nothing you can do. You're just like stuck.
Yeah.
And I think it works really well. All the characters have clear motivations, and like you understand their conflicts. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, oh, here's a character that we just have so they can get killed or something stupid. Like, and it was very well put together.
Yeah, part of that I think goes to the actors because their performances are all so great.
Yeah,
like Let Rocks, and even Alex Wolff, I think this is probably his best performance.
Oh yeah, well, besides Naked Brothers Band.
Yeah, of course.
He tweeted one time, or maybe it was on Instagram. He's like, "Please stop coming up to me and doing."
Yeah, I saw that. No, it was a video. He's like,
was it a video?
He might have done a tweet too, but there's a video of him. If I can find it, I'll put it in this video.
Hey guys, if you've seen Hereditary, don't come up to me and go like this. I've had enough of that, thanks.
Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine how annoying that would be?
I know. Well, seeing it in the theater was annoying just because like you had so many people in the audience doing it.
Yeah.
It was the actual movie or not, and like you hear it and someone would giggle after.
I saw it on a Friday night, and that was a bad decision because horror movies on a Friday or Saturday is like younger teenagers will go, and then just like annoying horror fans will go, and it's really distracting and annoying.
Yeah.
But I saw it in the theater, and then I showed my younger sisters because they're like, let's watch a scary movie, and I'm like, I'll show you a scary movie. And they're
traumatize them for life.
I did. They wanted some like something dumb.
The Conjuring,
and I'm like, I want to ruin your life.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think Hereditary is my favorite A24 film and one of my favorite all-time films, just because it works on both levels, and the script is so tight. Like everything that's set up is paid off. There's great like foreshadowing, great characters, great set pieces.
Most people's complaint about it is probably the ending, just because it's so off the wall.
Oh, I love the ending.
I love it too. I'm fine with it. It's just like
that whole sequence.
Yeah, I know. I loved it, and people just don't like that it doesn't. It's not like totally explained, I guess, or it just seems like too much going on. I don't know. I mean, I was fine with that. I thought pretty much it was an escalation. That's how far. I mean, these characters don't know what's going on either. Like you don't even know.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like
yeah,
I mean, you kind of get it. Like Payman. Spoilers.
Wait, don't spoil it. Let's not.
Okay, we won't spoil it. There's one scare that I don't think is talked about enough. Like everyone talks about a particular scare during the movie, that I won't spoil.
The biggest
one. There's one early in the film, and if you watch my Death House video, I talk about it a little bit. He's not afraid to show you. Like hide in plain sight, and that is uniquely scary because that stillness of like looking at something that you can't quite see all the way is way scarier than even seeing it in plain sight, even if it's something that's scary. So I thought that's another strength as well.
Mm-hmm. I love that. All right, let's move on to the Florida project.
See, I took you on a safari. Whoa. Let's go, come on.
I love it personally, and I know you do, but it's in your top 10.
It's my second favorite A24 movie, and I also love it. It's in my all-time list. I did make a video essay on this as well.
Okay, I'm just gonna plug all your videos on here. No, yeah.
But I didn't want it, just in case you've watched it and I repeat some of the shit I say.
Oh, okay.
But Sean Baker's a genius. I love his, even though it's like a day in the life type movie, the pace it's always moving. There's always things that are going on that you might not even notice that are setting things up later. Mm-hmm. Brooklyn Prince is super good in the movie.
She was an actor before this, right?
I don't know if she did anything substantial. I think this was her breakout movie. She was like 6 or 7 when they shot it.
She was awesome.
And it insanity. And I was watching for my video essay I watched a lot of behind the scenes footage just to see like how did the crew like deal with like working with kids, because when we were in film school they say 2 things don't work with kids and don't work with animals.
Yeah.
At least for like until you're seasoned. And so I have younger cousins, I had younger sisters, and like knowing like how kids act when they're 6 or 7, especially together, is like adding that to a film production must have been insane.
Yeah. It's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, definitely.
The whole cast is great. Willem Dafoe rocks too. And the mom.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, he found her on the mom on Instagram. She's like an Instagram influencer. She's not even an actress.
That's great.
An actor.
It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some other interesting stuff is a lot of so it takes place in a motel. It's about hidden homelessness, which is like people live in motels. They don't have long-term housing, so they like basically pay monthly at a hotel or a motel. And so a lot of the background actors and some of the actors in the movie, I think, actually live there.
Oh, really?
And so he like incorporates them.
That's cool.
I think, this isn't a spoiler, but there's one scene where Willem Dafoe is talking to a character about a washing machine. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the people he's talking to like actually live there. Yeah,
no, I love that theme comes across so well. Like even when they have to like move, they have to constantly be moving rooms.
Yeah.
Like, and she like the little kid, like the girl doesn't understand. Like a lot of the world is seen through her eyes.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can tell in the way he frames shots. Like it'll be like Brooklyn Prince, and then the adults, like you just see like their knees and
like cut off. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Like with the mom and like her night job and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
yeah, dude,
I love this. I gotta watch it again. I've only seen it once, but it's like one of those ones where you can watch it once and like there's so many, even though they're so subtle, like you still have the images in your mind. That's why like I can remember even some of the shots and like all the directorial choices.
Yeah, it looks great too. It was shot on 35 millimeter.
Oh yeah, the colors are great.
Yeah, he like really took advantage of like the purples and pinks that are in the Florida sunsets.
Oh yeah, it really feels like Florida too.
Yeah,
did a great job with that.
I want to ask you. We won't get into spoilers, but I wanted to know your thoughts on how the film concludes.
What do you mean? Like if I liked it or not?
Yeah, because I'll keep this non-spoilery.
As vague as possible.
But if you want to skip ahead, go to this timestamp. Okay. So the ending is kind of sudden for some people. I talked about in my video essay how I like that aspect of it and how it enhanced the theme and the just the storytelling in general. But I know some people don't like how it's.
I loved it. I think sudden endings like that can work if they're done really well. Like, sometimes you're just kind of left with your balls hanging out, but sometimes you're left with like just like your balls ripped off. That's what it feels like. I'm so totally fine with that, just because like it leaves you with an impression, and you go home still thinking about it like that, because you were expecting to see more, and when you're kind of like cut off, it's kind of just like you're thinking of what's going to happen now, and you're thinking, reflecting back on the movie and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think it was cheap. Like, I don't think it was like, okay, we don't know what to do, so let's just end it. It's like, you've seen enough.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to end it. I'll just keep it at that. But yeah, I think it's a great addition to the list. I think whereas Hereditary is like a horror film, it's like a typical, or not typical, but like the structure of it is like 3 acts. This is like, the structure's a little bit more loose. And it's a different type of movie compared to Hereditary.
Yeah.
So it gives you a little bit different of a taste of what A24 puts out.
All right. So next is Ladybird.
What if this is the best version?
I love Ladybird, but I didn't really grow to love it as much as I do now until like a third viewing, just because like first time I watched it, I thought it was great. I don't know why, but it's my brain, my mindset wasn't in the right spot to fully comprehend the themes and all that stuff. And the second time I watched it, I was like in the first or second row in the theater, so I was just not enjoying myself.
Oh.
But then the third time I watched it, I had moved to LA. I was just really depressed and just like, by myself, laying in bed and working and all that stuff. And so I put it on, and it just made me feel so like happy and nostalgic and stuff.
It took me a while to watch this. I didn't watch this film, Ladybird, until this year. And I love Greta. I just like, I don't know. I just like didn't get around to watching it. But yeah, I think it's a great, wholesome film, but also it doesn't, I don't know, it deals with like heavy I don't know, themes, I guess, but just about like growing up. It's one of the better why am I blanking coming of age films. And I think, again, I have younger sisters, and I think it nails the daughter to mother relationship very well.
I think Greta's voice, and it's just so like on the forefront of this, and that's what makes it so much so better than most of the coming of age movies. It's like partially based off Gerwig's life, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's in Sacramento, that's where she's from. Mm-hmm. So you get so much of her love and like hate for that life.
Yeah, it's kind of like I mean, in a different way, but it's like a love letter to Sacramento, kind of like Last Black Man in San Francisco is a love letter, another A24 film. I think it doesn't shy away from like making criticisms of it and like making fun of it, but it's coming from a place of love and not like just like shitting on a city just because. So. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, that's kind of like just like coming of age movies. Usually, you kind of discover something and something you were missing and like realizing.
The movie has that textbook Greta Gerwig wit and like charm to it, especially with like Timothée Chalamet's character. And I like this. He's so good, but he's such a douche. Yeah. And then why am I forgetting her friend's character name in the film?
Oh, Jonah Hill's sister. I forgot her name too.
Yeah. So I like the scene where they go to that super nice house that they wanted to go to, and there's that one line where it's like,
"Oh, Beanie Feldstein."
Yes. Thank you. That scene is so funny. Like when they're in that nice house, and I don't know, and
it's great setup too for what goes on. Like there's a lot of setup you don't really realize at first either.
yeah, and the film takes place over like a long period of time, and um you never feel like it's too long or they're just skipping over too much time, and you can't like,
The
you know
way
what I
you cut
mean?
is great. The editing is awesome. I
Yeah.
didn't even notice until last time I watched it either. It's just like you go so fast through that last year of her life in high school.
Hmm.
Like the scenes that are just there just for pure wholesomeness or like a bit. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's how she brought that to Little Women, because Little Women takes place over such a long period of time, and she figured out a way to structure the story so it could flow. Because I guess the book doesn't.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
like the way the movie is, which makes it
yeah,
interesting. I'd
which
say.
is crazy. Like it flows so well.
Yeah, and I also last thing on Ladybird is that the third act I think is like really great too, just because you're finally getting like the climb. It's like the actual climax, let's say, of the movie. It's just like this finally letting it all out, and she's coming to terms with the bed she made throughout this whole
Right.
movie.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Next is Moonlight.
Wait, before we say Moonlight, I need to say which. This is my number 4 on A24, Ladybird.
Nice. I had to look at my list. I haven't made a list yet.
Sorry, when I'm looking at my phone, I'm looking at my Letterboxd notes.
My A24 list will come after this video, but it's up
Perfect.
there. So yeah, number 4 on this list is Moonlight.
I ain't seen you in like a decade. It's not what I expected. What did you expect?
So Moonlight won so many awards, including Best Picture. And
La La Land won.
Shut up. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's. Is it in your top? It's not. I don't think in my top. Like 5, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe top at least. But it means a lot. Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say it means a lot to a lot of people. Like I know a lot of people even consider this like one of the best movies of the decade, and like that's why. So I thought it had to be on this list because like someone who's watching this and watches Moonlight could easily like fall in love with it as much as they do.
Definitely. I hadn't seen this film since we saw it, we saw it in theaters back in 2016. So I was like, when you want to do this video, I'm like, I don't know if I have a lot to say. I need to rewatch. So last night I rewatched, and I like it a lot more now. I loved it when I watched it, but I wasn't like over the moon about it. I don't know. I think it was just when we saw it, it was pretty late.
Yeah. I mean, we were just like, again, like the mindset that you go into watching some of these movies, you have to be in the right mindset.
Oh yeah. And especially it was hyped.
Oh yeah.
So if you build that like hype train too much, you can be let down really easily. But I really like how Barry Jenkins separated this into 3 chapters. Mm-hmm. So it's like him as a young boy, him as a teenager, and then him as an adult, Chiron. And the first time I watched it, I thought the first and second chapters were a lot stronger than the third. Mm-hmm. But now watching it again, I think they're all 3 really good. But number 2 is my favorite chapter still. The 3.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I when I talk to people about it, they always say the 3rd is their favorite. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm in the minority. But
3, I think 3 is my least, but I still love it. Obviously.
Yeah, I agree.
Bittersweet in a way. Would you say?
Yeah. So I watched it with Callie last night, my girlfriend, and she hadn't seen it. So I like doing that because it forces it, like, for some reason, it like puts me in like their shoes. Like, oh, what are they thinking is going to happen now? Like, what do they think the movie's about? So I was like in that mindset when I was watching it. And I remember the ending, right when it ended, me and Callie were like talking about, so like just our thoughts on it. And yeah, I would say it's bittersweet. I'd say it's more sweet,
Well, I just say I'm just thinking bittersweet, just because. Okay, yeah, I guess if you don't want to hear, jump to this point in the video. But like, it's just the whole movie. He's discovering where he is. He like dabbles in a little bit in the middle, and then the third is like he still hasn't accepted it, and then that last moment, it's just like you're like, has he accepted it? Like, is he finally like okay with this being this way? And it just doesn't give you that. Doesn't answer that question, I guess.
Right.
So like, you just get like, don't they just hug? I think, right?
No, it's so remember in the second chapter when he has that like his first like sexual experience or whatever on the beach, and afterward they cut to that shot of what is his name? I'm so bad with character names right now, but he has his head like right here and he's like caressing his head.
Yeah.
So it's the same as the last shot. So I took it as like they just like had that experience again, and I think he was like, I don't know, the whole movie's about identity, so I thought he was like accepting his identity more, because in the first chapter he's like learning who he is, kind of. He keeps asking those questions like at the table.
Yeah.
And Mahershala, I love him so much, he's so good in this. He's talking about like, you don't need to know. And same with Janelle Monáe. They're like, you don't need to know until you know. Like, you know what I mean? And then the second chapter, he's like dealing with it, I think, or like, and then in chapter 3, I feel like he is resisting it. Like he gets completely like jacked. He's listening to like super, like they do the musical cut where it's like this, like, strings, and then they cut to like rap, and they cut to him with his chain, and he's like just completely buff and like kind of like tries to become a hard ass, and so he's like projecting
for all these years. And that ending that's where I'm just like, okay, like that's what I mean by they don't answer the question. Is like, you don't know if like after this, if he's gonna be still in this,
sure,
he's gonna stay masked,
which
is why it's like weird for me.
I think he starts to. I think the diner scene, I guess this is a spoiler, but I think he is like, what's his name? Is it?
Oh, I can look it up right here.
Is it Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Jones.
Okay. So when Kevin like confronts him about him like dealing drugs and stuff, I felt like it hit home for him. And like he's like, why do you have fronts in? This isn't you, like all that stuff. I feel like it hit home with him. But Barry Jenkins, I don't think answers it. So I feel like it's up to you. Yeah.
And that's like, it's the case for probably most people going through that life. It's just like they probably never get it answered. And that's what's so great about this movie. Is just like it feels so realistic and heartbreaking and like just brutal, and nothing really like that crazy is going on. It's just like all in this kid's head.
It's pretty heavy.
Obviously, it's really heavy in your face. But
I want to talk about that. I think she was only on set for like 5 days or something, something crazy like that, because she was doing press for some big blockbuster like Mission Impossible or something. So Barry Jenkins had like 5 days, and she crafted that performance.
That's awesome.
She's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately scary in this movie.
The performances in this are awesome.
The kid is really good. He's pretty young too.
Definitely.
Speaking of kid performances.
Yeah, there's a lot of that here. A24, you'll notice that like there's a lot of the similar things running throughout the movies.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like literally every single movie we've talked about, there's good.
Yeah, child actors. You've got great family stuff. A lot of coming of age, a lot of growing. It's great how like it tackles like identity and masculinity in a way. Just like they intertwine so perfectly. Like especially with Mahershala Ali. Like the whole first act, he like makes that like it's right at the beginning, like you're so into it just because of his performance too.
Last thing, sorry. I really like how Barry Jenkins does close-ups. I think he took from Jonathan Demme, who did Silence of the Lambs and some other stuff, with close-ups, because the way he frames them, like it's like center frame, and a lot of times they look directly at the camera, or like almost. And it's like, I don't know how to explain. It's like angelic almost. Like I don't know what the frame rate is, or
it's like looking into your soul, you know. And that's
yeah.
Last on the list is Uncut Gems.
You having a good time?
Yes.
This is me. This is how I win.
There's so much to say about that I love about the movie.
For sure.
The music, the performances, the acting from non-actors.
Yeah, that's another.
Cool, but like it's a whole world I didn't even think existed. Like, I mean, unless you're from New York, you probably didn't know, at least.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was like. I mean, I knew of like pawn shops and stuff, but there's like that whole underground like world that we're thrown into, and it's
like
awesome.
The way all of the interactions he has with all the other pawn shop people, and then like his stuff with his family, and just like it's just like all the chaos that he's creating through his addiction to gambling. It's a whole other layer or a whole other story of gambling addiction that I've never seen before, at least.
Definitely.
And the way it's told is awesome.
Well, and even like he has every vice you can think of: gambling, drugs, sex. Like he has pretty much every vice. And I would say it's like a thrill ride of tension in a different way of Hereditary. Like Hereditary is like deep, like disturbing, like guttural, like I don't even know how to explain, like heaviness.
Yeah.
Whereas Uncut Gems is like tensity, like you're just like yeah, it's like a different type of stress. And I would say they accomplish the same thing they accomplish that sort of tension in different ways, which is interesting.
Different kind of anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
because it's not life or death. I mean,
well, with Hereditary,
spoiler.
Like I mean, it's fear. With this, it's just like it's the fear of the unknown and like ghosts, and then Uncut Gems is like just fear of like how much of a hole can you dig yourself in, and like life can really get to this point, and like and just like seeing him like go through all this is that you could easily avoid. It's just like you just don't do it anymore, and he keeps on like just creating more and more problems for himself.
Yeah. Obviously Adam Sandler is awesome in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I think he's
Adam Sandler is perfect.
Completely underrated as a serious actor. Like I think
because he can play a serious actor and a comedic one at the same time so perfectly. Like in this, it's just like,
he is hilarious in this.
Yeah,
I love the this is what, but he's like, I didn't resurface anything. I don't know who told you that.
Oh yeah,
like
the trailer.
He's like, what does he say? He's like, yeah, I heard you resurfaced your pool.
Your pool.
I didn't resurface anything. What are you talking? I laugh so hard at that. Or I disagree. Like just the way he says shit. It's like, he's so good in this movie.
I disagree.
Yeah. That's a great response.
And the music is great.
Yes, I think we should talk about that. Like the first like 10 minutes of this movie, like there's scenes happening and they still have the theme like loud as fuck.
Yeah.
To make you to make you stressed.
Yeah. It's like in the way the Punch Drunk Love has like its music is way too loud and all over the place. This is like way too loud, but it's beautiful music.
Yeah. I think you could definitely look at parallels with Punch Drunk Love. And the Safdies actually did a podcast with PTA. I think it's the A24 podcast, actually.
Oh, damn.
And so you guys should check that out. Yeah, it's really interesting. They talk about that.
It's cool because it's both Adam Sandler too.
Yeah.
He just knows how to create anxiety for you.
Seriously. Dude, even the jewelry, the store, his shop there's like, I think the Safdie said they had 40 to 50 pages of just ADR.
Yeah, I heard that.
They just throw in. And
Like a whole
they,
movie.
they don't have a closed set either or a quiet set. Like they just shoot.
I love that.
And they use long lenses and they don't block. Well, they block, but they don't like, all right, you're going to step right here. They have the actor do what they want, and then they just shape their performance and the camera around the actors. It's not like, all right, here's our shot. You need to be within the shot, like some other movies have to do.
Super conventional, but it works perfectly for this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could see that in Good Time as well. Like they're using those long lenses, and I think that's why they get such great performances, because their actors literally feel free. They're not confined to a space.
Well, Good Time. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, having those constraints is good. Like, I mean, we're not talking about this movie. We should be, but like in The Lighthouse, they said a lot of the rehearsals was just them figuring out the camera, because I mean, that's a special circumstance. But like having those restrictions can also help you be creative. But in terms of the Safdies, the way they shoot films, it works perfectly in what they want to do.
Well, in Good Time, I heard that it's like there's so much close up because they just didn't have they weren't even in the right area that the shot was supposed to be in, just because the money and time constraints. Like they just had to do close ups.
Yeah, and I think they do like that super shallow depth of field where like everything behind you is just really blurred.
And it works.
Yeah.
You don't even notice it's like not in the right area. And it's a great way to work around the budget. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. They're super, I don't know. They're super creative in how they go about shooting. And also like, I think Benny Safdie, I don't know if it's Benny or Josh. I think it's Benny. He likes to be on Boom when he directs.
What?
Yes.
I've never heard that in my life.
But I don't think he could for Uncut Gems, because there's like a union thing where you can't do that.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, I like being, because
I hate being the freaking sound guy. It's the worst.
He likes it because like he's like, no one's closer to that. Yeah, he said he likes being near the actors. Like he likes, because you're close to them and you can hear like you're like in the scene. And in that podcast, they talk about there's like one director that they love that he directs from Boom. And I'm like, that is like insane. Like just they're so like their ingenuity and how they direct is like so inspiring. And I think that is, especially for filmmakers, like you should definitely watch the Safdies.
Yeah, they've only made like 2 big movies, and Good Time, I wouldn't say is that big, and they're just so loved now.
Robert Pattinson saw one still image of, I can't remember the movie, the title before they made Good Time, and Robert Pattinson's like, I want to work with them. He didn't even see the movie. He saw one image.
That's awesome.
And he got in contact with them, and then they made Good Time. They were going to make Uncut Gems. They've been wanting to make for like 15 years or something.
Yeah, Adam Sandler like passed on it.
He kept passing on it. Then Jonah Hill was attached. And then
Heaven Knows What, right? That's the one you're talking about? Heaven Knows
maybe.
What. I know, because I know people were talking about that one.
Okay, yeah. That's probably what I'm thinking of then. But yeah, like Uncut Gems was like their masterpiece that they've been waiting to make, but they just didn't have the clout or the budget or like to make it. So they're like, yeah, so we made that movie, then we made a documentary, and then we tried to make Uncut Gems, didn't work. And then, so we made Good Time. And then they had like, at one point, Joel Embiid was supposed to be the Kevin Garnett character. Then at one point it was Kobe. At one point it was like Kyrie Irving or something. I think they kept like, and I think the reason they went with KG, which is so like, the reason they went with KG is because he's not an active player anymore, so they can shoot and just like we'll just put it in 2009.
Games. Yeah.
Yeah, or 2012. I can't remember what year it is. Maybe 2010. But and then and he like freaking doesn't age. Like he looks the same. It's crazy. And what was another reason? Oh, they hated Kevin Garnett because they're Knicks fans.
Yeah, I remember them talking about that in the podcast.
Yeah, and they're like, it took. I think the first time they met him, they're like, I gotta admit, like I kind of hate you. Like they had to get over that, which is so funny. But yeah, so that's another example of like their ingenuity. People should be
non-actors and just get that caliber of performance out of them.
They've elevated so much in such a short period of time. Yeah,
I think this movie's best as the last movie in this list, just because like you have all this like just A24's past, and you have all their the stuff that weaves through their movies and stuff, and then Uncut Gems, all the chaos just it's just such a culmination of like all the like the ups and downs and like in the feelings of the movies before this that I think like you'd be ready to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I guess it does kind of combine a lot of different aspects of the movies we talked about before. Like it uses non-actors like the Florida Project.
Yeah.
Like Hereditary, it's like just a thrill ride of tension for like an hour 40 or 2 hours, however long it is. It uses I don't know, it's like deep, like within the world it's portraying, it is the world it's portraying, kind of like the Florida Project. Like there's real people in it, they don't close their sets.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's I get why you would make it last on the playlist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say watch The Lighthouse as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, after watching all these, you can choose to go to. We'll give you some suggestions right now. Like if you liked Hereditary, you might like Lighthouse, especially if you're a David Lynch fan, since this is kind of like his movies.
Also, Midsommar, obviously.
Yeah, Midsommar, Ari Aster's other movie. It Comes at Night. What do you call it? So it's a very subversive horror movie, I guess you'd say.
Yeah,
kind of its downfall for a lot of the audience that watched it.
It was very mismarketed, but it's awesome. Trey Edward Schultz, who directed It Comes at Night, also did Waves, which I haven't seen.
That up later as a suggestion for another movie. Waves is great. You should watch that. Also The Witch, another great horror movie.
Yes,
people are really good with horror. Just like they're actually like legitimately scary movies. I think it's probably producing the best horror movies out right now.
Yeah.
And then, if you like Florida Project, then I'd go with The Farewell or Last Black Man in San Francisco, because since those are so much about so much about the location that it's in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
About China, and Last Black Man in San Francisco is obviously about San Francisco, and both dealing with all of them are dealing with the characters with coming to understanding their locations that they're in.
Sure.
If you liked 8th Grade, I'd say if you liked Ladybird, then I'd say go with 8th Grade and 20th Century Women.
Oh, 20th Century Women.
Yeah, that's
a good pick too. I keep forgetting about that film.
Forget that exists or is part of A24, I guess.
Greta is in it.
Yeah, that's true.
She's great. I would say another pick that I actually watched this year is Under the Silver Lake. It is super dense. It's also kind of about the location. You could kind of put it in with that category as well.
LA.
It has a lot of different themes. It's really interesting. And if you're into movies that kind of, I don't know, if you're into movies that kind of challenge you and are a sucker for like old Hollywood or I don't know, or genre, I feel like this would be good. Yeah, pop culture.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really interesting. Like there's a lot to be said about it. Like you could make a whole video just about it. Like I would highly suggest it. It kind of got buried. It was supposed to come out in 2018, right? And then it got pushed back and then it got dumped on VOD.
Yeah. That release all.
Really mismarketed as well.
Yeah. Okay, and if you liked Moonlight, then I'd say Waves is really great too, and in mid-90s.
Yeah, mid-90s
Yeah.
for sure. Mid-90s is kind of you can also throw that in with Florida Project because it is that like I don't know, it's that slice of life, almost like coming of age movie as well.
A kid not really realizing his like surroundings and like or wanting to just have fun and be free, I guess.
Yeah, I think A24 is really good at finding and producing films that deal with setting really well, and like you said, growth and coming of age. They really like to like throw you into a world, or like they like filmmakers who throw you into a world and like define it and explore it.
For sure. And then if you liked Uncut Gems, then Good Time, the last movie that Safdie brothers made, and Spring Breakers, which I haven't seen yet, but I feel like it's got that similar vibe.
Yeah. My sisters and a lot of my family has seen it, and I haven't, which is cringe. But they say it's like really good. Like they were expecting like some dumb like summer party movie, and it's actually really good. And James Franco is really good in it.
Yeah.
Isn't James Franco doing like a Riff Raff?
Yeah.
Like he based the character off Riff Raff?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And Harmony Korine. So if you're familiar with this work, then you like it, you'll probably enjoy this at least. Yeah, so that's all I've got to say about A24. Thank you for letting us film bro all over you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Make sure to catch Brandon on. What you're saying? Your channel is just Brandon Sonju, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Just my name.
I'll put some links up in this for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I'll be featured on one of his videos too.
Yeah, we'll be talking about They Live.
And High and Low eventually as well.
Yes.
I think we ran out of time today.
Yeah, I think we did.
Thanks for watching. Bye.